get back to some kind of basic routine. However, we have the FOMC 2-day meeting starting today, and we also have President Trump talking at 4:30 p.m., surely to be a volatile day. When it comes to metals, I did make some moves yesterday. I talked about a lot about taking profits. When PLG made that final move up, I did end up selling my PLG, not because I don't think there's future advancements, but after it hit $4 and then it was around the 370 range, I decided to just, this has been too volatile. When silver made that run up, I cut back a little bit on some holdings in my own precious metals or mining stocks, I should say. I cut back from 5,000 to 3,000 shares of B2 Gold. I cut back from 2,000 to 1,000 on Fortuna Silver Mines. And I also cut back from 2,000 something to 1,000 with Dolly Varden. So yeah, I did do a bit of work in the last couple of days to trim those portfolios, especially yesterday. With that volatility, and now if it back tests and we clear out some because we're at historically high levels in the mining stocks, and I've been hitting at it for the last couple of weeks, I'm taking profits as I see fit, and then I'll reinvest if we get into some nice tight areas like we did with PLG, and that ended up making us like 40-50% in a very small amount of time. But everything that comes up with veracity, I talk about it. Just because it's a mining stock, just because it's gold and silver, it doesn't mean that it's not going to have these pushbacks. When you are overwhelmingly overbought up, these things are going to happen. So now we talk about cryptocurrency. Is cryptocurrency about to fall out? XRP in 4 days now, so 5 days from now, 4 more trading days, we'll have to do the 1 billion escrow dump. And today's part of the 4 trading days. So you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we have that. We have that setting up. And February, only 4 times out of the last 16 years. Listen to that again. 12 out of the last 16 years. Or what is it? I think it's 12 out of 16. It's either 12 out of 16. When was XRP created? Or 10 out of 14. Whatever, I think it's 10 out of 14. So we've only had 4 green months of Februaries for XRP, in the last, I believe, 10. Be the last 10. No, it's fine. I believe that metals are going to go higher anyhow in time. So I don't think it's not going to be but for me, I've been in on a lot of things since, you're talking 300, 400, 500% on a lot of things. And then certain things are just plays. Like PLG, it's going to be a longer play, but when it got overextended like that, there's no way I couldn't do it. I talked about it the last couple of days. I put a post, and I'm just curious if any of the mods are in here. I put a post yesterday about taking profits out of the mining stocks, and don't be afraid. And it was a nice little post in the pager section, and that was deleted when I went on this morning. So I'm just curious why that happened. But other than that, good morning. 9:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. And when I sold some of it yesterday, especially the PLG, I was second guessing myself the whole night, the whole day, but I don't know. My gut was ringing, and I still have investments. I still have 3,000 B2 Gold. I still have 1,000 Fortuna and 1,000 Dolly Varden and 1,000 First Majestic. And so there's other, anyhow. But let's focus on crypto right now. We still have to try to figure this out. I know a lot of people won't click this morning because of the title in itself. Crypto Cooter said, I seen the post, and then like an hour later I didn't see it anymore and thought that was weird. Yeah, exactly. I know. I put it out there and I seen the same thing. I didn't know it got deleted an hour later. But I did know this morning when I went back on, because I wanted to see if anybody had reacted to the comment. and it was gone. So it kind of defeated the purpose of putting it out there. I put it out, during the trading day when it was still part of the trading day, I believe. But in any event, it's fine. I think the latter focus needs to be on crypto anyhow. One, are we going to get a rotational tug? Or two, is the same thing we talked about yesterday, is it playing true in crypto? And I know the title's kind of harsh this morning, and we're kind of working against ourselves and the analytics and the algorithm to try to get people to watch. But I think it's important to be in the right mind frame. I put in the title, XRP crash coming. Why low volume is a massive red flag. FOMC 2-day meeting starts today. And if I had room, I would have said Trump speaks at 4:30 p.m., but I did not. But let me first start out by showing my overall gratitude to this audience, especially to each and every member you see in here with a badge next to their name. They sponsor this show independently. At least that's what I say. As members of Tom's Army, that's why you're able to watch this live without any advertising during it, without any commercials or ads. So just be nice to those people. They've done their part, and I really appreciate you allowing me to be able to do this. So that's just how I wanted to start this. So thank you all so much. As far as being crash worthy, we haven't broken down the barriers yet. In fact, this morning I'm still somewhat optimistic because metals are dumping out. If this can build, and this is a shoulder head shoulder, I still feel like we could surprise a lot of factors here. I really, really, really do feel like there could be a surprise coming. My gut tells me with what's going on in metals that we're going to get a bear trap possibly here, and that means it's going up. And yeah, I know the title's deceiving a bit, and it's supposed to be. Where's this at? It's supposed to be deceiving. Remember, we've given very key hints in this community when we thought we could have major rallies in crypto, and what was one of the parameters? And I'm not saying it's going to happen right now, but I'm saying, when does it start to go on the radar? When we start to have a rotational tug, and it's not permanent right now, but you're starting to see the start of exhaustion in silver. And that doesn't mean it's breaking down. We're still at $107 for God's sake, but it's the illusion that's going to be fostered. Because at some point, what do I always say? When you break a major level of resistance, which was $93, the odds of not doing one of these and coming down very hardcore is almost unheard of. Now, the question is did you build a shoulder and then time ahead? And then if it comes here, comes down, comes up, which is why this is here and around, did we build a head and shoulders? And that, again, doesn't mean silver is going unabated and never going to go back up. There's just things that happen in time that we watch. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is going to play out. I just am saying, if this holds, we're going way up, way quick. If we hold the uptrend, which the uptrend would call for a movement somewhere around $100. If we hold that, we're cooking again. But the miners, as we talk about, they take these opportunities to, shuffle out a bit. When they lose control of the metal, they take control of the miner. And then you see unprecedented movement again. So, but right now it's that, okay, guys, we've gotten into that point of, oh my God, we're parabolic. This is vertical. That's what happens right before you see a 10% drop in platinum. Like, these miners can very quickly go back to where they started. So, but I'm not sold yet. Like, gold is still, I think gold has the veracity possibly to do something outside of what silver is, but you still got to pay attention to the rest of the metals markets. You have to pay attention to the way this is starting to set up. And, I mean, if we want to look at this in a sense, because we got to look at this to see if we can get that push in cryptocurrency, remember. Cryptocurrency, if we want to have a push out, is doing Not what we want it to do necessarily, but I always talk about, remember the volumeless push in crypto. So at some point, whether it's way farther down or it's now, crypto is going to do its job. On the other hand, this is at its mesh point. If you see this break below here, I mean, that's your signal. If it breaks above, Lord have mercy with gold. So, and possibly that they have tricked you and extra. We won't hike rates. I'm willing to big on that. It's all an illusion. Matter of fact, all these charts, especially if the NQ and SPX tank today, it wouldn't be surprised even a little. But if we get at least a dovish Fed tomorrow, if not a surprise rate cut. I mean, if we're building into wanting to have that kind of thing happen, we need to have some velocity to the downside. And that would make sense with some of the markets dumping. Now, is crypto going to get caught in this? Because I do feel like at some point we can get a very, very, very volatile movement. The problem is right now is we're on the bottom side of this pennant that fell out. And technically what we were looking at, if this fills out and doesn't break through, oh, it's a big problem. But I can also show you something that's kind of, do you want to have a little bit of, let's take a breath. You want to have a little take a breath moment that might make you smile? See this wick? See this wick? Anybody tell me what we just shifted into with that drop? Which might be why, you know, you might not be seeing as dovish of a Tom today. Can somebody tell me? And I will be right back. I need a water. Oh, I'm waiting, guys. I want to hear. What is that, folks? Because that, and only that, can save us. And I think it may. Sure, can we come back down here? We could, but remember, we just came down to $1.70 or $1.81. But ladies and gentlemen, that is what we've been waiting for. That is what we want. That is a sight to behold, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't know what you're looking at, and that's from a long standpoint, right? You do this. And even if it's wrong, you start messing with it. And this is just a tip from me to you. You don't know what you're doing, right? Hey, let's upload a file. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I just know that it's a downtrend, right? So you ask. So what the hell is this? Potential symmetrical triangle, which... You sure about that? Isn't it a descending... Whoops. A descending wedge? Does appear to be a descending wedge, also known as a falling wedge. Well, why didn't it tell me that first, right? Descending, broadening wedge at that. Well, I don't know if we can say a descending... Well, we don't even have to say that. Here's the cool thing. We don't have to say that. It's not broadening. It's tightening. This is just a falling wedge. This is beautiful. That does mean, however, that you could fill here again. But guess what? We're going to have to come up to resistance around $1.84. So if you're looking for some positive signals here this morning, my title is very deceiving this morning. But yeah, symmetrical triangle can break to either side. True. And there is a symmetrical triangle within that, but if you take it without from... No, I know what you mean. It's all an illusion. But to me, that's a falling wedge. And I think with what's going on in the rest of the market, what a perfect time to have a bullish breakout here in all of our things. I'm just saying. Is this not the most deceiving title you've ever seen from XRP Future Millionaire this morning? I'm just saying. Is this not the most deceiving title you've ever seen? I can play it both ways of deception. I'm not saying we're going to break out. I'm not a financial advisor. But, everybody who's looking for a dump today, I mean, you might not get the dump today is what I'm saying. You might get a breakout today. We'll see. We shall see. What do you guys think? Do you think we're getting a dump today? Or do you think we're going to surprise the market today? Do you think we finish a move down to clear out and then make the move up? I'm just curious. Oh, I want to dump too. Believe me, it's on illusion first. But the title is the title for a reason, because it keeps you with the understanding that a dump can very well come first. The only thing is that I think we could possibly be setting up something. Now, I would prefer for this to dump, and make no mistake about this. I would prefer for this to dump. However, the more I study this pattern and the more I start to fill it out, I'm starting to realize something. It should come down one more time when you look at it across the board. It should. It really should come down probably one more time and retest this, because you want a third tap on this functioning pattern that's forming right now. And let me show you what's happening here. Whoops. Let's see. And we'll go across some of these charts just to try to build a narrative. Not a false narrative, a true narrative. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, we're building something like that in this one, in the short term. Now, it's tricky. It's tricky. But the definition for a falling... Get out of there. Falling wedge, and they're all going to be different. So I was trying to keep up with the other one. I forgot to show you this. But a falling wedge... What is this? Where's the images? Where's the best one I could show you? I have it on my chart right now, but I want to show you it in a... I mean, I guess that would be... Let me get rid of this so it doesn't confuse. So, from a short-term perspective right here, we came down, hit resistance, support, resistance, support. Came up here. I'm assuming that this is a resistance hit already. It just... Oh, no, it's close. But that looks like we created a descending wedge possibly here. And if that's the case, we could be in business. Like, we really could be falling wedge, descending wedge. Let me go to Google. Google does a better job at this. To show you the imagery. But I mean... Seems like we created something. The problem is if it's more of a descending triangle, you know, but it doesn't look like a descending triangle. We don't have stable support. Everything good? Okay. Kind of looks like we're building that right now. Seems like it would be 10 days of down pressure, not a dump on the 10th day. I've been howling at that thing every night. No, been stagnant and it's about to push up. We've had a recurring pattern for XRP where 10 days after new moon, we do break down. It's, but as bullish as I can be, it still needs to either break out of this or it needs to finish this move down. Now, the title might look deceiving, but it's front and center for the understanding of what could be coming. But in the other sense here, if I was calling a sneaky movement today, now I understand. I think I would rather it come to $1.78 first, just to finish this off, because you really want 3 hits on each side to confirm a pattern. And we've already had 2 here. Now, if we get a third one here, then a breakout, that would make this case even stronger, in my opinion. So do I see a move up first or a breakdown first? Well, with the volume portfolio, it's suggesting we might have to come find more aggressive buyers, but, you know. But it looks like a falling wedge to me. Like, it seems like that built up with the drop. Now, obviously, we can't validate it until we have some kind of stronger movement. But if I didn't know any better, I'd say we're building something here. Now, would it be dangerous to buy in this exact spot? It depends how big of a gambler you are. But yeah, it would be. Because the movement doesn't seem finished based on the amount of volume. So when that ends up being the case, generally all that means is it's not that we're completely bearish. It means that we're exhausting the pattern, but we still need to find a bigger group of buyers to help us push through the next layer. That's what it's seemingly trying to tell us, possibly. Even with Bitcoin, it seems like maybe Bitcoin wants to come and find the extreme buyers. Now, if we had a dump down on Bitcoin to like 83.6, oh, it'd be great. Even 80K would be better. If we had a quick dump, I don't know if that can happen today, though. But if we drop like even 3,000 points, 3,500 would be great here. Silver, 106. Now, I'm not surprised. With that big move up to almost 120 yesterday, we seem to have created a head. Talked about it yesterday. I talked about it in the Telegram before it got deleted. I don't know what happened there. But I talked about taking profits on miners yesterday when it was in the trading day. We talked about it yesterday, but we said, let's see how this reverses if it does. But we were having veracity, and I know what the miners do. They dump up and down real quick. Now you have to look and see where the opportunity comes again when they do make these dumps, because it happens quick. It happens quick. It really does. And it's like, it kind of feels like to me, I mean, I don't know exactly, but it could be the start of something big coming down here in the miners. It's overextended. This will clear it out real quick. Look at the hourly with B2 Gold. That's a good sign. The sellers exhausted it so quick in the hourly. What's a bad sign still with these are that they're so overbought, but they're rotating quickly. That's the only thing I would say. The weekly on B2 Gold is the one thing that gives me confidence, because that one, unlike a lot of the other charts, the weekly on a lot of these other ones are just overextended. The monthlies are overextended. B2 Gold still seemingly hasn't had. Same with Fortuna. It seems like it still needs that last movement. Like, I'm not as bearish on B2 Gold. However, I know that it can drop more, but the gold miners are kind of simulating like we're still going to have a rally in gold. So maybe silver is just overextended. I don't know. There's a lot to look at. But I wouldn't be worried about some minor movement to the downside. CJ2 Pilot said, you and Julie showed up to become friends on Facebook yesterday. I sent a request to both of you. No kidding. Let me go onto my main Facebook account. I don't usually go on that account very often. Let's see. Was it from 17 hours ago, my friend? Was that from 17 hours ago? CJ2 Pilot, and thanks for being in Tom's Armor for over 2 years with the XP 589 Moon Badge. Might be you. It's just weird because I see actual names on Facebook. Trump speaking can definitely drop or pump the markets easily. Absolutely, Crypto Cooter. And thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. And also in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. There we go. I confirmed your friendship. Also, for anybody following me on Facebook, again, I just want to thank everybody. The the amount of views I'm getting on Facebook is incredible. I'm not monetized yet, of course. But it's 151,000 yesterday, 122,000 the day before, 122. It's like, if I could only pull these kind of numbers on YouTube, oh. Last 7 days, 921,000 views. It's craziness. Soon I'll be monetized on this channel. But you have to have, I think, 60 days. It's crazy that this channel built that quick so quickly. I love it. Look at paid 0%, 100% organic. I like it. Anyhow, maybe some of that'll trickle over here one day. But people like what I write. Especially, you know, I like it. Zachary, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRB Diamond Hands badge. Excellent. Yes, sir, MB. I just didn't want to say your actual name on here if you didn't want people to know. Or your lovely wife's name either. ZT White, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRB Predictor. Plant Good Seeds, thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XRB Meteor. Elmer Fudd is back in town, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Dan Marginal, 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Appreciate that, my good friend. Mr. and Mrs. Stott, welcome in, and thank you for the lovely gift. I did receive it. I haven't set it up, but I was definitely intrigued. So I got some work to do, but I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to figure out if where I'm going to exactly set it up, and if I can create something in maybe my outdoor tent. I'm not an electrician by any means, but if I could come up with something. My outdoor workout place. But, yes, I did, Mr. Stott, and thank you. I did receive it. That's what I was just, we must have talked about it at the same time, because I was up on the comments, and it just updated when this came through. Thank you. Yes, 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 indeed. Yes, indeed, and I really appreciate it. So, thank Mrs. Stott. Mrs. Stott, if you're in here too right now, really appreciate it. I do. I peeked through the box that it's in, but I didn't want to open it out yet until I have a plan. And I appreciate the ideas you gave me as well. The Cannabis Podcast, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. I think so. An extension cord should work. That's what I was thinking. Now, my only thing is that I could probably figure out a way to get it outside and bury it under. I used to do underground cable lines and stuff. Putting like dangerous things underground too. So I think I'm going to try to do that. And then what I would do is I would probably cut a little piece out by the side under the ground, and I would have it come up in a spot, and then I would have it connected, and then I would keep something around it. It just needs an extension cord, and diesel burns extremely thin. That's what I was intrigued about when you said diesel. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And the cool thing about this is if anything ever happened in the winter, I have it's a solar powered generator. I mean, it's a battery generator, but it can be charged solar power too. So if anything ever happened in the house, I could use that and go get some diesel and be able to heat, throw some heat through, from an outside source too. Or, it would work. Oh, I used to do it all. I used to bore under sidewalks. We had a bore machine. I think it was called a ditch witch or whatever. But we used to have to use the extensions. The biggest driveway I ever went under, I had to put like 5 rods on, and it was like 70. Oh god, it sucked. Industrial. But yeah, I used to standardly do 16 to 24 foot bores when I was on the machine. Although I hated it because it was hard on my back, and I broke my back when I was young, 23 in a car accident. But I like to work by myself when I could just bury them myself. Yeah, I used to do the drops as well, Jason. I used to do so with AT, it started out $30 with anything under 75 feet, and then you'd get a $5 for anything over, and then over 150 you get paid by the foot. But I would also use a handheld Milwaukee drill to do the under the sidewalk bores as well. And that would be anywhere from like 3 to 8 feet you could do. Well, I could do 10 if I put an extension, but it'd get tricky. But yeah, I would do that for AT&T and Comcast. I was an independent contractor. Comcast paid less, but it was easier. I think Comcast was $25 per drop. That 4 hour stochastic is hung up again like it was. last week. That's the problem. Our stochastic is killing us. It's because of the lack of volume. That's why, you know, I made it very clear in the title where the directioning is, but I also don't want to sugarcoat it. I think after this happens, we have to pay attention because it's either going to be, if this does drop out to $1.78, if it holds, maybe it takes longer. Maybe it's right around $1.80 double bottom. Maybe it does come through. But at some point here, we are building a wider pattern. And I can put it for XRP as well. We are creating a descending, broadening wedge if you look at it farther out. Whoever said that earlier, yeah, you are absolutely right. It's just not in the... Well, you were talking about also the descending wedge in the smaller pattern, so you're looking farther out and in, so you're on the right track. Not even on the right track, you're on the money. Maybe you should be teaching the classes February 2nd. And then it's this. It's also this. Like, did we break out? I mean, there's so many things to look at here. There really is. You know, like, it's a very, 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 very interesting pattern indeed. We are, and I just wanted to do this because we are on the top side right now. So this is the interesting part for, you know, since Monday. I know a whole day, but we've been on the outside of this right now. And if I didn't know any better, some key indicators here, something might be different about this overzealousness. It's just when we came up here, I mean, we did do it here as well and came back down, and now we're trying to reset it. This would have to somehow hold in this area and then bounce out, if well, not that far, if it's going to do something. Conventional wisdom says you would wait for a bounce down, but something's got to spark some interest here. I feel like with all this stuff coming up today. Oh yeah, Jason. I used to do the aerial, the burial. I used to do the NIDS. On the poles, I would have to put some on. I would put them under the ped. Yeah, I used to do all that too, my friend. Couple years ago, up right before the pandemic happened, I switched from what I was doing because they started to undercut us with what work we were getting. Swirlview Wealth, simple online bank in Canada, sold my gold last night. They managed some of my investments. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see. The only thing I didn't do is I wasn't working for the direct company of Comcast and AT&T, so I didn't have a work truck. I had to use my own vehicle. I had to get my own equipment. I mean, you got the write-offs, but it was still a pain in the ass in real time. But hey, what a beautiful soul that you do the same. Man, small world. Defined Group, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Already 6+ months with the XP Predictor and a very trusted mod in this community. Says, hey everyone, hit that like on the way and consider subscribing and joining Tom's Army for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Every day you are not in the Telegram, you are missing out. Courses soon. Absolutely. And if you want to know more about the courses, video description below and or pinned comments in this very live. If you're struggling with the charts, with your emotion, with the understanding what real money versus currency is, understanding different markets, you know, just trying to be a better trader, being a better advisor for yourself, and also trying to learn and understand from an economist standpoint more than just one market, and learning more on a savings and things of that nature as well. I encourage you to join the class. I believe 19 people have joined up. So, and there's going to be 2 classes a week, an hour each. 8 a month for 8 hours of learning. Those are going to be back saved on YouTube, but I'm going to be teaching from Zoom. It's just going to be easier for all of you doing it through YouTube because you won't have to pay for any of the Zoom stuff because I'm going to be saving it on YouTube. So it was a way for me to cut the cost for the class. Big time. Otherwise, you might have had to pay another $50 without even paying for my class just to get the database and storage. Zoom is weird. I want to tell the story that I think we'll see 130 silver very soon, like this week maybe. Elmer, that would be great. That would be great. There's opportunities setting up right now. If we can find a bottom here, there are opportunities setting up. We just want to make sure that we're not building ahead here. Because every time we get these veracities or these big spikes of velocity, it doesn't matter the asset. You really do need to fill some of the trading gaps. Now, it has come down significantly, however, which is a great thing. Like, look at this cut down. We had a 14% drop. Right now, it's still at 9.6. But we are significantly overextended. Like, this would be a great time for silver to clear it out some. It really would. Because what happened is, and what got me even more yesterday is why I was more willing to do what I did, taking some profits, is because not only did my dad talk about how he wanted to buy again, but somebody who had owned the mining stocks with me and my brother, who I worked for, speaking of the company, Josh, if you're watching, he's who I got my work from, somebody my brother knew and I knew. And yeah, he was running the company. And he had the miners, and he was down a little bit, and he sold when he had, you know, a modest gain, not anything spectacular. Maybe when it got back to even, and then he might have gained 20% on top of it. All of a sudden now, he called my brother, and he wanted to drop like, you know, 20 grand into silver, and he wanted to buy mining stocks, and it's like, listen, I love you, my brother, but if you aren't going to hold it through when it was cheap as hell, and now you're going to want to buy these miners when they're 4, 5, 6x, in some cases from where you had it, are you on crack? Like, let this cool off a minute. Or let it play out of, you know, let it go into oblivion, because right now is the time when you could literally invest and be down 20% in a day. Like, look at some of the people who waited on PLG. It's a perfect example. And it went up. And now it's like, I don't think it's done by any means. It just had to have a clear out. So does that clear us out to the breakout point? You know, at the further, who knows? Maybe this is all it needs to do. But you just don't want to get caught in that mess of buying it at the top at $3.80 to $4. And then having to figure out if it's going to come back to $2.70, because it never back tested this area. So if I'm looking at this from a logical standpoint, I'm saying, well, it had this huge breakout. Logic says, since it didn't back test this, I mean, a re-entry at 269 maybe, if it comes down there. I don't know if some of my friends that like this are in here, but, and that's the same thing that could happen across the board. Now, B2 Gold, I keep saying, that feels different just because the weekly, it's set up different. It doesn't feel like the rest. I mean, it could very quickly, but that weekly is still turning up. Like, it's going to take some of the velocity. But we'll see. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen stranger things, and it just pull them back now. I've also seen stranger things. Like these pullbacks are not bad. These are not crazy. These are not crazy pullbacks. I'm already in position to where I could reuse my funds, you know, starting tomorrow on most, you know, because you want to do the 1 day cool off period. Well, actually, I could do it today because I did it. Oh, no, I have to wait today. But it's nice. You get to see how the market shakes out. So we're going to see. If Trump goes dovish, you know, this could be an indicator from gold, silver, mining, not the miners, but the precious metals, that we might not get a rate cut like everybody thinks. But if we get a rate cut, oh, baby. If they announce a rate cut, silver is going to go right back up. Oh, this is absolutely going to be a discount. This will be the discount window. It's not going to stay like this forever. But you ever hear of the parabolic spike to intrigue retail so that they can kind of, you know, struggle with it a little bit? If anybody's wondering what capitulation looks like or melt up, that's what you've seen in silver. That $200 Canadian. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You haven't seen nothing yet still. It's going to be while my son is likely at school, which is going to make it interesting. But I think the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do it somewhere. And I know it might not be convenient for all, but I have people in other countries, too, that are signed up. So it's going to be inconvenient no matter which way. The good thing is you'll be able to go back in the database and watch it every day. But it's probably going to be around noon my time, if I had to guess, noon or 1 o'clock. Just like when you go to a regular class at school, it's not always convenient, but it's kind of got to be a set time for everybody who's going to attend, whether they're in the East Coast, West Coast, other countries. So be trial by error in the beginning for sure. Have I looked into Microsoft Teams? Are you talking to me? I have not. Hello, Tom and Army. Sending the positive vibes as always. Hit that like. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, 60-something% of you hit the like button so far. 42 of you are lingering right now, if not more, that haven't hit the like button. Good morning, MQ. You're the one who I was targeting. MQ. With PLG, I was talking, about the veracity that it's had. And I hinted at profit taking yesterday, but if you were looking at this now, would you agree that if it needed to come back down to test this, that we're probably looking at an area $2.60 on a back test if it wants to maintain this pattern now that it filled out the technical target? I'm just curious. It's my own curiosity, because that's what I'm seeing right now. Because that's where I'm thinking that would be, if it goes down, there would be a perfect re-entry. I think that's a good, I don't know if it's going to hold, but if it does, that would be the first area. Second area would be we overzealously broke out MQ, and then the re-entry would be all the way down here to $1.36, so, or $1.37. So it depends your philosophy here. But first area I'd be looking is 260. What is it? Yeah, about 260-ish. Told my neighbors about silver at $22 to $30 to buy silver, like was pushing them to, but that's happened to me. Not just, my own family, but just there's been a lot of people that I tried to talk to about silver. Now, if we could hold this and right the ship here and then we start to go up, this would be a completely different story. Completely different story with metals. It's all going to depend on what Trump's going to say. Not just Trump, but the FOMC meeting. I do have a little more faith, though, where crypto's at, that if we do the proper thing here, that we could have a nice little spike here. That's not off the table. Just we got to do what we got to do here. XRP Future Millionaire Tom Silver is getting harder to sell. This isn't sitting right with me. Talk me off the ledge. Well, much like most things, even crypto, when it's very volatile, when you go to sell for a certain price and it's moving so quickly that those prices can't be locked in, and then you find yourself selling it for much cheaper than it is, even by several percent. Happens all the time in crypto and very volatile markets. Right now, they don't really have a set pricing point. So where do you sell it? If you go in, you have to look between the fees, between everything. Your best bet is you can go to JM Bullion. You have to send it in. You can go in. You got to find the proper pawn shops that are willing to do the proper. It's hard. Real 999 silver, you're not going to have a problem selling. But if you have like junk metal, yeah, that sometimes gets a little extreme in these times because it's costing them more to melt it down. It's not as cost efficient. So, but if you're selling tokens, like honest tokens, like coins, I've seen opportunity to do that. Jam Bullion sends me shit all the time for that. I just don't want to sell any of it. That's for the next generation, if I'm being honest. And then this is basically what we're talking about. Is this breaking out for XRP? Are we breaking out right now of a descending wedge possibly in the shorter time frame? That's the bottom line. Is XRP backtesting a breakout? I just have a honest question. Is this breaking out right now? Like I told you, it could be the title is a little deceiving this morning. Because if that is breaking out right now, I want to know. I want the audience to tell me. You can be honest. I think it could be breaking out. But I've just a question because this seems very interesting to me where we're at. It seems very interesting. Either we're a little bit early because we have no volume and this is building a topping reversal and we'll come back down here in any regard, or a sneaky push up. I just want to know. Yeah, I'm waiting for the ratio to come down lower myself, Almer. I've done my research. Back in it's 3,200 BC. It was 2.5 to 1. I can't remember if that's the Egyptians or Romans. Might be the Egyptians. And then in the time of the Romans, I think that was they got it to, it said 15 to 1. And then the time of the kings, they redistributed it and it was like 25 to 1. And then obviously all the stuff with the gold standard got it to 30 to 1, 20, 35 to 1. Then when they took it off, it went way up. Don't sell your silver, it's unattainable. JM Bullion is on over a month wait after purchasing for the. Oh yeah, it's crazy. No. You don't want the things you trade, guys, is the mining stocks. That's why I always say the mining stocks. That's why you want to own them for the big moves, so you don't have to worry about selling your gold and silver. You do it with the mining stocks if you want to, not with gold and silver. I've never traded a single ounce of gold or silver ever. And I've been buying it since like 2018 or 19. I can't remember exactly when. But I haven't bought them in a couple years. I focused more on miners. But if I was you guys with XRP, I wouldn't do anything right now. I would wait to see if it's going to break down to that lower level. And if it breaks out, I mean, we should get a very clean look. It's a small window, up best $1.90 roughly. It's a very small window here. You don't have to wait for much. You get the validation, a small bit of validation at $1.90. You get real better feeling if we close above $1.95. You know, I only mentioned that for whoever was having trouble unloading their silver. Oh yeah, no, that's a great suggestion though, because that's my overall plan, Mr. Stott, is to move some of the silver into gold because it's so heavy and it takes up so much room. But yeah, the hardest thing is to do is nothing. I agree with that. Let's see if I missed something from MQ. No, Carl, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. John Allen, good morning. Thanks for the suggestion. Millennial Crypto, welcome in. Japan's financial service, FCA, plans to formally reclassify Ripple's XRP token as a regulated financial product before second quarter of 2026. I have heard about this. This was going to be a story I was going to do on Facebook, actually. I've done a lot today, so I couldn't lump it in, but I have like 4 different things that I've already made. I'm very efficient on Facebook. Stuff I can't really do on here. Because we don't get the same things with the posting. I wish they had the same kind of wall and stuff like they did on Facebook, so you would get credit, you would get monetized. Well, I don't get paid on Facebook yet because it's a new account, but it's not even 60 days old. I can't even go live. It just exploded now that I'm not restricted. Been crazy actually, to be honest. DXY about to hit 95. Is it really? Oh my god. Sure is falling out. We knew in that area where I circled, if it broke that, we're on our way to 95.36. And then if it breaks down that, I mean, we could be heading to the technical drop target, which, if this ever loads. Da, 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 da. Hey, look, I just had to do the music. See, we got it working. I used to play the drums. I miss them. But my son, he can't listen to that. But the US dollar, I mean, if this is breaking down, the technical breakdown, it's massive. But since we broke down over here, we can redo it. If this is the breakdown. Ooh. 62.79. That would be incredibly not good. Incredibly not good. Ugh. Makes you want to beat yourself over the head when you see how devalued our money's going to be. So, no, don't sell silver. If you want to take a little money, you know, and you got a bunch of money in miners, that's where you do it. Don't touch your silver and gold. I don't care how far it goes down. It's keeping up with the rate of inflation. And silver, just to get back to its nominal value, is like $185 to $200. It's not going to happen in one day, but you're starting to see signs of the system cracking here. In Germany, the Federal Ministry of Finance confirmed 0% capital gains tax on XRP if held for over 1 year. Wow. That would be great. I hope they do something like that over here in the States. They promise it, but we never do anything. They just tax us more. They tell us one thing and then they bend us over. But that's a great thing. That's great. So, what time is it? 52 minutes in, so I gotta start winding this up soon. My son has a half day today, so I have to get off of here very, very soon. Because we're leaving here like in 10 minutes or so, right? Because we want to get there early. Yeah. So, what I'm looking at, guys, I'm looking at a reversal right now. Unless we give back $1.87-ish, I'm looking at a possible reversal here in real time. If we fall through, then it just tells us we probably have to come back near $1.73. But this looks like we could have a bit of a reversal. Oh no, the silver prices have absolutely, if it has to close over certain levels in the monthly time frame. So right now, silver still has a few more days if they want to drop it down before this monthly close. But yeah, from a weekly sense, it's really hurt some people. I don't know. PLG will take liquidity below 294 yet. Everything had pullbacks this morning. That's a great area as well that you looked at. I don't know if it will either. That was just if it came down there because people ask about buying positioning and then where a good entry would be. I don't know if it's going to come back down there either, past there. That's just if this continued down. That seems like a logical back test from the breakout. I think, what is it? I just looked at the extended pattern that it was on this trend. It came through here, and it could technically be 260 if it wanted to hit that exactly. That's why that area is intriguing. However, if this has one of those quick pullbacks to the top side, oh, it's great if it does. This whole thing is set up. I wouldn't get too scared right now is the whole point. If you wanted to take something, you can, but I wouldn't get too afraid yet. Yep, same on where we talk. It seems like we're a broken record in our community right now. Talking about the areas of what needs to hold, and then what can happen if it doesn't. It's wild, though. We're in a wild spot right now because all it takes is one little surge of volume here, either direction. Same with SBSW. Fair enough. Fair enough. Per BMF guideline section 23 ESTG, long-term crypto gains are tax-free. Wow. That's unbelievable. That's great. That is great. I hope we go down that line. I really do. The only thing that's squeezing us right now is we haven't had any kind of volume spike. If we could get a volume spike, we'd be cooking. We still could be. I mean, we're still on a perfect spot to push this up. That's a nice inverse pattern. That's a nice V-shape recovery. Hey, MQ, before I gotta go, do you think XRP is gonna make that move now up to that 202 or whatever, and then possibly push even higher and break out of this pattern? Because it seems like we're on the top side of what could be considered a descending wedge right here. That formed outside that little pennant. And then I gotta go. I really have to go. It's been an hour, but I have to go pick up my son from school. Fed futures markets place 95% odds of no change in the federal funds rate today. Well, they're not going to announce it today. It's a 2-day meeting. Tomorrow, Jerome Powell, and we'll hear about it probably around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Today, it's just the start of the 2-day meeting. It's the 27th and 28th. But yeah, I seen that, Mr. Bugathorpe, and thank you so much for being a very important member in this community and giving us a lot of information. That's crazy. 95% odds. It's a big number. It's a big number. Other than that, thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, we did get one gifted sub this morning. We did get one monetary donation this morning that I missed. Joseph Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Army for not only over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, but also gifting a membership, making sure I don't work for free this morning. And Israel 8339, congratulations on getting that gift sub and being back in Tom's Army for your second month with the emoji or with the Dust Out House Crypto News. So, but yeah, that's it. That's it. And we'll keep watching XRP for a potential breakout. If you're in and you're like, well, I don't want to sit in it if it breaks down, easy. Under $1.87, it invalidates likely that little setup. Over $1.90 is what we're looking for. A close over $1.94 would make me very happy. But just stay over that $1.80. Well, I would rather it stay over this area at $1.87.8 and get over this $1.90 and start pushing up in the right direction. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for this falling wedge to be a signal of a breakout. 2 hourly massively oversold. Down and on and on. But I'm leaning down. Don't mark my words. But we popped up and took sell side liquidity yesterday, $1.94. Yep, I know. And with this volume liquidity or the lack of volume, that's why our look here and why I was bearish in the title. As we look for the lower levels at $1.79 or $1.58 until the volume comes in, it's just, if we're looking for a breakout, I should have said MQ, the parameters need to stay. We need to stay above this $1.87 area and try to get above $1.90 and ultimately $1.95. But right now with the lack of volume, it could be a very big, it could be another drop here for sure. For sure.